Welcome to Buddhaland Podcast. I'm Stacy. Today, I'm so honored to joined by Prajwal Vajracharya, a foremost teacher of Newar Buddhism. Prajwal is a 35th generation tantric Buddhist priest from Nepal and a ritual master of the Charya Nritya dance tradition and other ritual forms. Thank you so much for taking your time today, Prajwal.
Thank you, Stacy. This is my pleasure. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting.
Let's begin at the very foundation. Newar Buddhism is indigenous to Nepal, the birthplace of the historical Buddha, but it remains relatively little known outside the region. But it carries one of the longest unbroken Buddhist lineages in the world. Could you please give us a sense of when and how this tradition began, and what makes it distinct from other forms of Buddhism?
So, Newar Buddhism go back even before the Sakyamuni Buddha. So, history show that way. We have a, Kalkuchanda Buddha, Kanakamuni Buddha. We have the Shiki Buddha, Vipashi Buddha, Kanaka Buddha, Kasyapa Buddha, then Sakyamuni Buddha. So, first Buddha is considered the Vipashi Buddha. And then when he also visited Nepal, he literally kept the pillar there, which is he claimed that's the place of the previous Buddha place. There is Kakuchandra and Kanakamuni. And beside that, also we have in Nepal, we have a Dipankar Buddha in a Kathmandu, Dipankar Buddha, Patan, Dipankar Buddha in the Bhaktapur. They have like 126 Dipankara bringing to the occasion every 5 years, every 12 years celebration. So when we see that way, it's back into the thousands of years, it's carry on the traditions. And the unique about the Newar Buddhist tradition is about is keep alive, and the whole philosophy, whole psychology, whole training of the psychology and the philosophy, it is based on the ritual. Those the life like a birth to the death and after death, they also have lots of different rituals. So that's a ritual is very unique. I don't think anybody have it. Whole ritual is about the philosophy. It's for about the teaching the Dharma and practice the Dharma. Also, we have a Namo Buddha in the Swayambhu Purana. They mentioned that when the Sakyamuni Buddha come to visit to take the homage to the Swayambhu, which is self-rising Buddha temple in Kathmandu Valley. And at the times, Sakyamuni Buddha came with the 250 bhikshu and bhikshunis. And then he also mentioned that my previous life, when I was the prince, is there in the Namo Buddha, and then there's a hungry tiger is there, so I cut myself meat to feed to all hungry tigers and their babies for their life. And after made it, he died and his stupa made it. That's my previous life. So that's why Nepal is the very unique, much before than even Sakyamuni Buddha. It's already exists the Buddha Dharma in Nepal.
Okay, so is it like, of course, you recognize the historic Buddha, but you even recognize the previous lives of the Shakyamuni Buddha. And such recognition is not only about following a teacher, but also living your life with all these teachings and wisdom and in every aspects of the rituals in daily life.
Yeah, so that's why the Vajracharya is the one who keep alive even that modernizations with the country. Country is like I don't know, so many corruptions and so many, not Buddhist country. So we have a 800 years not Buddhist country, but Vajracharya keep that lineage carry on still in the present day. And also the other part, which is in the Sanskrit, that's the 1,000 years old Buddhist Sanskrit. So only Buddhist traditions who keep alive in a Sanskrit. That's a Newar Buddhist tradition.
Yes, actually, when I learned about that, I was also happily surprised because when people look at early like Indic texts, a lot of texts are not preserved. So yeah, so I think Newar Buddhism actually provides a lot of very precious materials to understand early forms of Buddhism.
Yes, there's all the history been written with those masters. We have so many different masters, all the tantric texts. Actually, it is came from Kathmandu, but somehow we have we have a country. It's been run by the so many different the non-Buddhists. So they then try to read off Buddha Dharma, and there's a history so that way also when the British was running in India for the 350 years. And those people came to Kathmandu and finding all the ritual texts and the manuals. And so one of the person they call the Hariprasad Sastri. So they say that the history, Hariprasad Sastri came there and three truck loaded into India with the manuscript book. And then after 1945, India became independent and he became as the spy of the British. So they keep in the jail and he died in the jail. Lots of people in the present day in the scholarly refer to him because he's the one who access to the old Sanskrit, and then preserving the text. It's all come from Nepal, go to India, and then India is making that is there right now in the present day. And then we have a Malla kingdoms, which is all the Hindus, and they don't want to keep the Vajracharya. They know they can raid off the Vajracharya because they are the tantric master, and they are really powerful tantric master that period of time. And so when the Malla kingdom run that way, they started building the lots of Hindu temple in Kathmandu. And but they want to be, kings. If you don't honor the king, they take away your everything, whole family. So they have to be honored. So they are part of the whatever they building the Hindus temple there. So it's 800 years. Still we don't have a British country. If you search in the Google, it's like 81% Hindus in Nepal. Then we have to a couple of years before, we have a 10% of Buddhists, and then decreasing the Buddhism is only 8% Buddhist in Nepal right now. So
I see. And quite a lot of them actually follow the Tibetan Buddhism, which was brought to Nepal much, much later.
yeah.
So the Newar Buddhism and the people are very resilient. And as you mentioned, the kind of guardians of this tradition is the priest, Vajracharya. Like that's also your family name. The family name marks that you are part of this priest lineage of Newar Buddhism. And of course, your father was a great Buddhist scholar and a ritual master, and your brother, Apolba painter. What does it mean in practice to be a lineage holder, and what are the responsibilities of that role?
Well, responsibility is like a carry on that's what my father, my grandfather, my ancestor done in this practice to get enlightened. So the idea is like that they have lots of secret teachings about traditions practice every day, and anybody's need help with the sickness and the diet and the liberations, even that like the success for the business. Those people need the rituals, and those people need the purifying the obstacle. So Vajracharya, that is to keep alive still in the present day. So for me, it's our responsibility. Kathmandu Valley, we have a 18 Bihara, and I grew up, I've been initiated from they call it Mantra Siddhi Mahavyara. Mantra Siddhi Mahavyara is established 2200 years ago with the Saswata Vajra. And Saswata Vajra is like those master who are incredible master or incredible Mahasiddhas at period of time. And he also, even though he established, they call it Chandramarosana temple, which is Apsala temple. They also have a Bhadrakali temple. They also have a Mahakala sadhana. And still in the present day, big giant Mahakala statues is still in the worship in Nepal. So the powers of the Vajracharya in my lineage, they carry on still in present day. So as a Vajracharya, the modernization is a little bit challenging, and also there's no support for the government. So we have to do our own stuff. So that's why we are trying to bring that into the life and being more into the worldwide. Back in my father period of time, they not allowed for my father to do anything. They always very conservative. Vajracharya is like that. It's a secret. You cannot teach anybody. This is low caste. Still in the present day, you have to be Vajracharya to learn. You cannot teach the out of Vajracharya caste. So that's why so my father is like the revolutionary to bring that way, publishing all old ritual texts transformed into the Devanagari so everybody can read and understanding that part. So we are breaking that old tradition and accessing everything we can do for a people, because we don't have that much who follow this tradition because it doesn't get a benefit, doesn't get a livings. So we have a only few people in Nepal who try to bring it that in their life. So that's what I am doing. My responsibility to bring the life with the old tradition. That's why we built this temple also in the West.
Yeah, you built your temple in Portland, Oregon, in the United States, and you have student communities in Hong Kong, in Japan, and in the US. So that is also a very important way to adapt and to preserve the tradition. And also, the other thing that strikes me about Newar Buddhism is that it is non-monastic. Of course, you have the temple, but the practice can be non-monastic. People do not have to become monks and nuns, and it's very much family-based. I guess it is also a strategic development because the need to preserve. But at the same time, it feels also very relevant to most of us living as lay people in the secular world. I'm curious to understand what are the core practices within your tradition for people who is genuinely seeking awakening, but have to live in the secular world.
So if you follow with the Sakyamuni Buddha's way of saying, Tanikoto Parvata, he gave the Vajrayana teachings. Vajrayana teachings like if you just wanted to be a monk, then what will be the next generation? This will be new generation. So idea is those people who living in their life in a harmonious way with the creating the community and then living the community. So the people need a practice. So they make it that easy access to practice. And the core of practice is like a Vajrayana. Vajrayana is diamond path in the one side, and the other side is wherever you are and however you are, you can practice no matter. You don't need to be monastery. You don't need to be in the living in the mountains or jungle. Any place it can be practiced. It's all about the mind training. It's all about the body training. So if you have an understanding clearly in the path, so that's way it is the Vajrayana to work. So in the Newar Buddhism, this is really into Vajrayana practice with the sadhanas, the meditations, the visualizations, concentration, mantras, that's the powers, it's making vibrations in the body. So you can practice any place in the world. And especially in the Lalit Bistro within a Buddha's life, like that they talk about that in a history when the Buddha was young. He need to get the realizations of the world. What's it in the world? How many things you can experience in the world? What else you can get in the world? So that was a teaching with the Vipassy, they call Vipassy Bodhisattva. When he teaches about that, he was teaching about the vowels and consonants. And vowels and consonants is like also the completely body part. Also, every letter or every syllable, like all appear with the anitya. And anitya means the emptiness. It exists in whatever exists in the world. It is emptiness. Ah means Ishwar. Ishwar means the spirit. So spirit is everywhere. Every corner we have a spirit. We leave the spirit wherever you go. They are connecting to your body to awakening and awakening to the samsara in the same time. So that's the Vajrayana practice. That's with the Newar people still in the present day and in the family and live in the family, you can still practice Vajrayana.
What I found interesting is in Newar Buddhism, you seem to balance the secular life and this lofty goal very well. The goal is the same, that we want to be liberated, and we also need to see that the emptiness of our existence. But at the same time, you also celebrate all stages of life. In one of your talks, you talk about all the rituals, the ceremonies that you perform for a child when they're born, and also the whole village celebrate anyone who reached the age of, I think it's 70 or
Yeah.
so people still live and enjoy life. And then at the same time to cultivate spirituality. I find that very beautiful. How do you see this progression of human lives? Because you talk about the next generations and daily rituals. Yeah, could you share more about that?
Yeah, very simple things about, like let's say when you get marries and the baby comes and like they're excited one side and the other side like, oh, what am I going to do, what else is going to happen, and especially in the west, wow, it's a big things now in America, especially like 60% of American after baby they give a divorce. So there's a trauma it's been built in the world. So in the Newar Buddhist traditions, before even anything's happening there, okay, 3 month pregnancy, 6 month pregnancy, 9 month pregnancy, they give the rituals in that they do. That will be okay. You will be okay. And then as soon as you burn, they worry about like a baby will be crushed, baby will be so tiny, how to take it in it so hard. And then that period of time, they give you a tiny little duck. They bring you the ducks, make you kiss, and that means that way, when the ducks babies, they don't feed with the milk. As soon as they born, they jump into water and mom guide them to the where to eat. When they eat, they just take what they needed and throw on the outside. The concept is they bring it that way. Okay, baby is now on own world. So he will be good. It's still I'm feeding, I'm guiding for that, but it's still he can be the own. So those kind of like a ritual is been given. And then when you go to the transactions of the body with like a 7 years and a 12 years and so 14 uh 18 years and 24 years, they have a different layers of the life circle changing. And we do, and all the way to the 77, when you turn to the 77, 7 months, 7 days, 7 years, they have a big ritual. You're not anymore in the human being, you are go over than the human being. So that's celebration. It's a unique way in your Buddhist tradition.
That's very beautiful. I think it is very inspiring for people who live in the secular world to celebrate the passages of life and to feel our existence and to aspire for spiritual growth. So it's not contradictory.
Yeah. And even in the morning rituals here, we do everyday morning rituals since we established. You know, we're not doing the ritual for the Buddha, we're doing for ourselves. Buddha's already enlightened. Why we need to do, offering the 6 paramitas, we're chanting every day, 10 paramitas, Buddha doesn't need. We needed that. So how we can practice every day living into the family environment. The ritual is to motivate that give you to the whole philosophy, that give you to the whole understanding the Dharma. That's about in the Newar Buddhist tradition, still in the present day. So we have 16 years, we don't miss any single day, morning and evening rituals in this temple.
Impressive. Let's talk about Charya Nritya. It is the dance tradition within the Newar tradition, and you are perhaps best known internationally as a master of this dance tradition. And I also have had the privilege of seeing you and your students perform many times. You basically embody different deities like Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, even Mahakala, and then through movements, costumes, facial expressions, it's truly extraordinary. Could you please tell us what Charya Nitya actually means and what is the place within your broader tradition? Is it devotional, meditative, ritual, or all of this at once?
Okay. So it's a simple way of understanding the Charya Nitya. It's basically come from Nitya, now became a Nritya. Nitya means the daily. So we call the Nitya Puja means the daily puja. So Charya means the practice. Nitya means the daily practice. And so this Charya dance, the practitioner always just sit, it doesn't really help you. You need to have a certain movements in the body so you can uplifted, you can get a power, energy, and you move to the body to the to different state of mind. And then also it is literally say that in the Hebrew Tantra that the earliest tantras you can see in the text. Without the dancing and singing, don't even think about the getting the liberation. So that means the dance mean not the dance. They will say that in the present days you can then dance and move. They will literally say that dancing means that it's like the movement of the body. Movement of body is if you have a complete awareness. And when you move the body, you have fields of awareness. And the mantra with the singing will be turning to the mantra, the vibration. And you have understanding truly that the songs, the vibrations will merge or get into body, start to moving with that way. So you are not anymore with your body. So my father always say that when I am dancing, I'm not anymore with me. I am different person than who I am in the present day. So body started changing. So that's also in the sadhana. And especially in the Newar Buddhist tradition, that every ritual you have to be sing and dance there. It's have all the esoteric, even the initiations and empowerments and the community gatherings and honoring to the deities, and you know, you have to be dance and sing. Basically, dancing is the sadhana. So Charya Nritya is the sadhana. It's not just the dancing. And that's transforming the body, spirit, mind. It's a give you through with the movements and gestures and mudras. The Dharma doesn't believe about the god and goddesses, but we do have a more god and goddesses. And each of the god and goddesses have a pose and accents. It is like the movement, dancing movement. Things in the tree banga, everything with the blessing, everything's with the connecting with the head, do we call the three part of the body with the body, speech, and mind. So combined together, it's also the awakening's inner part of the body. So this is Charya is thousands of years. We have a 1500 Charya, and those Charya who's been created by those Mahasiddha who's enlightened. So still in the present day, we sang we in the sacred contents.
Yeah, that definitely makes Newar Buddhism distinct from other traditions. For a lot of people, they probably think, oh, meditation is a very key practice, and basically maybe you sit there, or even walking meditation. It's not very common to embrace dancing and singing in a spiritual practice. It is also not surprising because when we look at ancient Buddhist art, all these wall paintings, we have so many musicians, so many dancers around the Buddha. So that must be one of the ways that we can attain enlightenment, especially in today's world. I think to feel the joy of being a human in your physical body is so important.
Yeah, that's the most important with the physical body. Then other parts, like back in old days, you don't need to be moved. It just move itself in the mind. When you started dancing, when you're singing a song, and you know the word, you know the move, you know the meanings hit into the mind, and the melody hit into the mind. It starts moving itself. You don't need to move the body itself, physical body. The internal body can move and also can be benefit to the people.
I see. So previously you mentioned that basically your father made a lot of practices accessible to non-priest caste. So in terms of this dance itself, was it always this open, or it was also kind of protected historically?
Yes, in Nepal, I should say that we have a political situation. My father period of times run by the Ranas, and Rana is not allowed to even publicly write and read. So they run for the 104 years in the country. So that period of times, you know, all the generations of the teaching is not allowed. So they go to underground. So, but my father's slowly, bringing like a little by little awareness for the people. And then 1957, only one dance came out to the world publicly. Whoever performed that way, he was being like, oh, you shouldn't allow you bats. They make him blame. So, and then go underground in for a long period of time. And lots of people are coming. Do you have a sacred dance? And then my father's privately teaching to Westerner, giving initiations privately. And then my father established the Kalamandapa Institute, Dance Institute, and it's open for public. That was in an 82. And we start promoting more and more. But yeah, this is dance. It's not allowed for anyone to learn, anyone to practice. And my father's write articles like, look at these statues. Now, the Vajrayogini that the naked and the painting is naked. We dress up and it gives the meaning with the dance. What's wrong with that? That's my father's interpretation. The statue people are selling naked. The painting naked, but we dance and we give it the meanings to that one. This is not a secret anymore. This is the wisdom teaching. We need to share this wisdom. So that's what my father to bring into the world.
Yeah, let's talk more about the relation between dance and statuary, because my background is in art history. So
Oh,
watching you
yeah.
dance is a fascinating experience. It's almost as if the Buddhist statues I studied suddenly come to life. All the mudras, the gesture, the energy, everything, they just make so much sense. But I was wondering, do the dance and the statuary inform each other throughout history, or which come first? And how do they speak to each other across time? Because the Newari artists are also very celebrated for the sculpture tradition.
Yeah, they work with this, that the statues and the paintings and the sculptures and stone carving, they're very well known in Nepal. So where this began and how they began, like if you go to history back into the 1,000 years, when the Manjushri came there, he cut the gorge. In the Katanu Valley was the lake. So he cut the gorge, he sent the water away, and he wondered that it's 1,000 particle lotus is sitting there. And he followed the root of that lotus, and he found that the end of the road it is emptiness. They call it Guhye Shori. Guhye means the secret, but Shori means the divine one. When Manjushri see that way, he meditate there, and Manjushri being guided with the female deities called Dairatma, also known as Pagana Devasana, which is mean who live in the sky like nothing else there. She was the guiding for Manjushri. What should we do in this place? This is the holy place. And so after that, whatever he see in a vision, Manjushri see in a vision. So he wrote it down. He sang that way, and then she will appear in the space and guide him. Manjushri brought some disciple with him, and after Manjushri left, the disciple also wrote the songs of the Manjushri. So Manjushri always appear in their mind and guided for them. So that's where they started in the history. This is about thousands and thousands of years before. We have a oral tradition is been carried on is still in the present day. So if you have your main deities and those masters, enlightened master, they have a main deity. They write the song, they devote the song, they honor the songs and the dance. Yogini tantras like that. Without music and dance, you cannot please Vajra Yogini. You know, that's the way it is. To honor the divine, to honor the spirit, you need to dance and sing. That you just reflecting that yourself like that. I am honoring. I will do better. Ideas in here like the every statue of painting they have a incredible wisdoms. For example, Kunyin deity is like this Kunyin deity. It's very simple. Holding with this mudra. So we call this is in a thumb. Thumb is the earth element, and this is the air element. Air and thumb, it is connected to the mind to awakenings. That's why they call the wisdom mudra. So wisdom gesture, you pass on that wisdom through all. And then the other part is like holding a blue lotus like a sky. It's holding with this finger. So infinite, sky means infinite wisdom with a soft and gentle way giving from the heart as the generosity to all. That's me. And then it's also whole body standing on the top of lotus. So softly, gently passing to the wisdom to all sense and being. And then we have ornaments. If you want to be a bodhisattva, like Santi Deva talk about how to get enlightened, you need to preparations with the paramitas. Six paramita, if you are complete the six paramita, only you can become a bodhisattva. And so those are the statues and painting. They always have ornaments as the paramitas, which is like a generosity in the neck piece. They always have a three layer. That means inner, outer, and secret. So generosity, I'm giving from the heart with the inner, outer, and a secret way to all. So however you need it, we can give it to you. And then they call the discipline Dana Sila Paramita, where discipline means the ankle belts and the bracelet. You will see that all the deities have it. So all the energies of the body, if you are strong in the hand, strong in the feet, it's a transformation happening. So that's why they make a disciplines with the hand and the feet. It's make your body wear, make your body transformation. And then it is like a Chanti Paramita with the patient. Even like a big Buddhas and male Buddhas and female Buddha, they always have a big area. Patient is really important for the part of the practice of the Dharma. And also the other part, based on what you hear, wherever you are, we are basically listening to whatever goes here, it's reacting to the body in a different way. What are you hearing and make a transformation? So if you hear the good thing, good, good. If you hear the bad thing, you got the anger and the hatred. Why we fight each other? Because based on the you hear. So those are the really important part. That's why they're keeping the big earrings I have a big patience in here. And then also effort, anything you do in your life, you have to get the effort. Effort is a belt. belt is like the all everything goes here, you know, the food wherever need to go, like a dividing, it's from here, it's an effort. So same way you need to gain something, you need to keep to your own effort. And so those four things make it the change in the world. So the generosity is a love, discipline, patience, and effort. And once you have that kind of practice with those four things, then become the Dhanaparamita, which is crown. Crown means the conscious mind. So when your conscious mind is working, the lots of deities have a bindi here that we call a wisdom. So those are the six paramita. And all the statues and painting have that six paramita completely. I am here to share with the generosity, kindness, and love. That is everyone needing. So those are the ornament is turning to the wisdom as well. So that's why every statue, they give us incredible wisdoms. And some of them, rightful deities have skull garlands and the snakes and the tigers and the lions and the elephant skins are also symbolic meaning behind it. So each of them have a really specific way how you can train your mind and what you need to do for training mind. So that's why the statue is being created by the great master, enlightened master from their visions, like how I can give compassion, kindness, and love in a joyful way to others. So that's why they created these statues. So full of wisdom.
That's why Wari Buddhist statue really influenced the sculpture making in Tibet and in China. After what you have explained, I will never see them the same. I can feel more energy and wisdom from the static sculptures.
It's a wisdom, statue we call the full of yoga. Yoga means that in present day, what's it, the aerobatic or exercise. But back in yoga means the inner awakening. So that's why all the deities in the inner awakening, what do you need to do with this inner awakening? Each statue have each different way of presenting the inner awakening. And those statue is, only masterminded can create it.
Yeah, it's also very interesting that you mentioned that the enlightened masters saw the vision, and then the craftsmen kind of put the vision, the physical form. And I guess with the dance, it is also a movement from the vision, but
Yeah.
animated with our physical body.
Yeah. And especially in the Charya dance, those days, like reflexology it's been hardly studies done. That's back in old days, in 100 years before, as reflexology is there to how to move, especially in the Charya dance. We have we hit with the heels, with the heel and other heel. Heel is connected to the spine, and the spine is like a really important for a meditator. If you are strong in the spine, and your mind will be strong, spine have to be clear in any meditation. So that's why when you hit with the spine, other spine, the both side of spine generate the chi in inside. Then we have a toes. Toes are all the senses and bring it down. So energy is like a completely 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 step. And whole 4 step, which we call the universal step, whole body start to moving. And in there with the wave, it's created with the three banga. Where the hip goes, there's a head goes, and then it just generate the whole cosmic energy into the body. So that's why the master and people day and night they can dance without getting tired, and that doesn't need to eat. The chi is built inside with the dance in the Charya dance.
Impressive. You are the 35th generation of Tantric Buddhist priests. It's an unbroken transmission that you just explained. And now we're living in a very different world with all the digital platforms, and then your students are global. And there are just a lot of changes in the world. What do you think about preservation in this context?
Well, it's a challenging, and also there are not that much people who follow with these traditions. But it's right now, it's a start to slowly people start understanding and getting benefit. Also, the other parts is like the Tibet is take over all the Buddha Dharma, and India's Tibet, try to claims everything's from there. So Newar is like a never colonized, so tiny little country, very few teachers in there. So it is challenging, but whoever does that way, and it will make you more benefit. So that's why I got the opportunities myself, like coming out through worlds and start the centers in the Hong Kongs and Japans and the Germanys and Brazils and the Nepals and. So we have a center. We started buildings more and more because the people are willing to learn. People are willing to take this path. So it just became really powerful. Not only like people just sit, meditate. People have a knee problem, people have body problem. So this is just not only sitting. It's just like a move whole body. It's just really healthy way of practicing the Dharma. That's why I'm very glad in that part to move on. And this is also when we think about the lineage, we have a 6 siblings. I'm a baby in my family. So I have 5 brothers, and my oldest brothers take a little bit part, which is the rituals and other part. But I became at the dance part. So those lineage sometimes doesn't go to everybody. This modern world, because it doesn't give you money, doesn't give you live life. It's challenging, but it is live in the happy way, and it generating the happy and transforming the happy. It is really important. If you are dedication, if you are motivation, yes, you can get what you need it from sacred art and sacred wisdom. So that's I am doing that. What I'm doing, it's making benefit. So I also get a benefit myself in the 21st century. It will be new generation will carry on, because when I grew up, there's no computer, there's nothing. So now it's like a more computer. I'm not that much skilled to reach to the world, but next generation will come. I'm also creating a little bit art collections in this whole house. Have a display with the art, with the powa painting, and then every ritual object I can collect in Nepal, how they use in the present, use in the back in all day. So I've been collecting and been displaying every rooms. Like ground floor, it's more like the samsara, up floor like wisdom, and upper floor with the 2 ways. One is the Bodhisattva's way, one is the esoteric way. So you can in the Vajrayana, one is Mahayana or Sravagana tradition. So how you can transform into one to others. Try to create it so people can get in the future something they get to learn. So that's my job. Also, keep dancing and keep teachings of the Dharma through worlds.
Thank you so much, Prajwal, for sharing all this precious knowledge and wisdom. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for anyone to learn more about Buddhism. What does it mean to be a good Buddhist? What does it mean to preserve Buddhist wisdom? I really appreciate your time and compassion. Thank you for listening to Buddhaland podcast. Wherever you are in the world, I'm grateful that you showed up. Until next time.